alone on a hill.
I promised to get into this chemtrail news, so that's coming up. But let's get to your calls right now. Danny in Texas, go ahead. Welcome.
Hey, Alex, good to hear from you. Good to hear your show. A couple of quick points and a question, if you'll stay with me just a second. Qualify the first one by saying I'm not just buttering you up so you'll give me time on the radio. I really would really covet an hour conversation with just you, because I can't even get my wife to talk to me about this stuff. But anyway, it's an absolute priceless work that you're doing. People just don't realize, and you, sir, I believe, are probably the.
Well, let me say this: I know it's priceless, and that's why I don't do the best job all the time. So that's what's even more frustrating: is this work is so important, and I don't like being the main person having to do it because it's so important. I wish I could do less and craft it better and make it, more focused and effective. But you do what you can.
Anyway, I was reading a little booklet that my wife got me. It's entitled The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. And so that brings me to my second point. I'd like to challenge anyone out there that's listening today, if you can read the Declaration of Independence and or the preamble of the Constitution and not get chills up and down your spine and or get angry about what's going on in our country today, then
you mean the Al Qaeda-tution?
Right. But I would certainly say then your patriot is probably dead.
No, I agree with you, because when you read the Declaration of Independence, all the same stuff is happening today.
Yeah, exactly right. And that brings me to my question. What is it that could be done? I mean, are these people all hedged off to where they can't be sued or arrested? Because it clearly says in the First Amendment to the Constitution, Congress shall make no laws, ... and it finishes the First Amendment. And, it's nothing new. They've been doing that forever. But, I mean, now they've really gotten to a point where it's self-destructive. I mean, it's going to do completely away with the First Amendment. And this is what our country was founded on. This is what makes this country great. And this is what we should go by as far as laws in our country. And for them to just basically wipe their behinds with it, it makes me furious. It makes me want to, I don't.
Well, then if you try to stop them from wiping their behinds with the Constitution, they then call you a terrorist, and that's what the DHS reports are about. And that's the one big thing the globalists have on their side, is they are not short on bold. They got plenty of boldness, plenty of chutzpah, bravada, whatever you want to call it. They are very arrogant, a lot of hubris, and a few other choice words I can think of. To start teaching kids that there are no seasons, and to start teaching kids that, that it's normal to spy on your parents. I mean, it's all just over-the-top tyranny. And what tyrants do is they come in and they practice tyranny. And if they can spy on people without warrants, well, they can ban the First Amendment. And if they can go in and federalize most of the preachers and get them on an intelligence operation payroll, the problem is the government's organized, it's centralized, it's able to make mass changes, even if it's unpopular, even if it's criminal. We have to all locally sue them, speak out against them, say no, get really aggressive with government. And we've had a lot of victories against them. I mean, as bad as things are, things would be a lot worse if we hadn't have been fighting them all along. But we also have to get all these comfortable people that don't think it's their job. Folks are so selfish nowadays and so self-centered, they won't even get up off their fat butts to protect themselves. And so the next best thing we can do is say, okay, everything's going to collapse because you have this lackadaisical jackass attitude. And when it does collapse, don't blame the people that are still free market and still own some property and can still live their lives self-sufficiently. Because, see, the howling mob of scum, they're going to be the weapon the New World Order uses. That's the big dirty secret. After the globalists are done collapsing things, the average scumbag out there is going to go suck their boots and prostrate themselves down before them and beg even more and grovel, because that's all they know at a bestial level. And then the establishment's going to say, your enemies, those gun owners, those conservatives, those Christians, those liberals, those landowners, those, get them. And the public's just going to go, ah, and they'll put on their little it's like the Soviet Union or like a third world country. They're going to put on, you take a dumb, lazy scumbag who's watched TV their whole lives, you give them a machine gun and a uniform, they're ready to murder their neighbors and make excuses. It's a green tax. You know, it's, oh, we're taking your kids. You know, the neighbor said they saw something. Sell the kids. You know, it's just, now Texas police just pull people over and go, give me the cash. and then they go on TV and go, we take your money. You know, I mean, it's like Chicago, where the police are openly corrupt and they are the mafia. And so we're turning into Mexico. And if we roll over like they do in Mexico to corruption, or we roll over like they did in Germany, we're going to be total slaves. I appreciate your call. Bill in Wisconsin. Bill, you're on the air.
Yeah, Alex, how are you today?
I'm doing all right, Bill. What's on your mind?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, you were talking about the opium over there in Afghanistan, and I saw flashed across the news, you know, how they streamed that about a week to 10 days ago, where Holbrook, you know, the fellow that's in the Bilderberger.
Yeah, he's the opium don. He's the opium czar over the plantations.
Right. He made the statement that eradication will not work. Therefore, they're giving up eradication of the opium because it would drive the farmers into the arms of the Taliban.
Oh, yeah. I was listening to, about a month and a half ago, to BBC Radio on XM, and they can't deny the government deals all the drugs now, so they just came out and said, well, the Army does protect the opium, and it does, and the Army, U.S. Army, does allow them to sell it, because that way the Taliban doesn't get to make the money. So now, yes, they even tell the troops, yes, we ship the opium into America, and we go ahead and arrest you when you use it, though, but it's so the Taliban doesn't get the money. And that's the CIA excuse 50 years ago. We're going to run the cocaine into America because there's a market. People want it. Besides, you guys want $5 million houses on Maui, right? It's for America. We're fighting communism. We can't let the communists make all that money. So we got to do it. Hold on. Somebody's got to do it, Bill, for America. And somebody's got to own the private prisons off the laundered drug money to put your kids in it. So we bring in the heroin and we put you in our own prison because we're red, white, and blue, Bill. And so but I heard them on BBC admit it, but they said, well, the U.S. has an ingenious program, so the Taliban doesn't get a foothold. The United States guards it and allows it to come to, and allows the farmers to have a little money. It's a U.S. welfare system. What they don't tell you is the warlords all own those different sectors. The U.S. made deals with them. The Taliban runs it. That's why the Taliban made the deal with the United States in '79. Brzezinski brags. We said, we'll take all the schmack you got. They all have little palaces. They don't show those on the news, but it's admitted they have them. I've seen photos. You can have your castles and palaces. We'll ship it into our whore public. Just like with the Vietnamese, we'll sell our troops the heroin. They'll come home and get on it. We hate our people. We are scum. And the Taliban said, Heil Hitler, hell yes. We want to sell our opium to you. And the rest is history. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Well, anyway.
No, I mean, that's how it works. That's how this works. Is it not sick? Is it not? They just admit now the government ships it in. You're not with Al-Qaeda, are you, Bill?
Yeah.
We got to bring heroin in, Bill. It's to fight Al-Qaeda, Bill.
Anyway, you know, when you were on the air here in central Wisconsin, I called in. In fact, I had a lot to do with getting
I remember you on that show. You did call in. I was going to say that, but I thought I would dispense with the pleasantries and get right to interrupting you, Bill.
Yeah, which you're good at.
I am the champion. I'm just joking. Go ahead, Bill. Go ahead.
And you do a good job. But anyway, they had Jerome Corsi on recently, and I brought up these same points. Oh. And then he's got an e-book out about how we have to attack Iran. So I jumped all over him, and you know, I think he brings up a lot of good points, but he is not definitely on our side. You know, he suggested people get Glenn Beck's book and get Michael Levine's book and all of this, and I said these are all neocon positions, And
no, it's pretty clear. I mean, I've had Corsi on. Corsi is like a different person each interview he's on. And let me tell you, I think if you scratched Dr. Corsi, you might find something, wearing a uniform right underneath it. But you know what? I don't know what you do. The globalists are taking over the planet. They're slapping us around, and it's disgusting.